Sauvage Parfum by Dior. So stay tuned for that. And if you like the content, guys, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me grow my channel, and I do appreciate it a lot. Sauvage is a 2019 release, which is released only 1 year after Sauvage EDP, and it is the third flanker to the ever-popular Sauvage fragrance. It has the strongest concentration as the Parfum, and it has top notes of bergamot, elemi, and orange. The middle note is sandalwood, and the base notes are tonka bean, vanilla, and olibanum. Personally, I am actually a fan of Sauvage. I really enjoy the EDP and the EDT. I personally like the pepperiness that I get from the EDT, although I do find it's probably the loudest and probably the easiest to annoy people. Both the EDT and the EDP are very strong, and as such, they do tend to have a headache-inducing effect for a lot of people. That being said, I do like the freshness. I do really enjoy the fragrance. So I was pretty excited to hear about Sauvage Parfum. Now, this one actually is quite a bit different from the other two releases. I find this one to be quite dissimilar, in fact. Now, it does open up somewhat similarly. You get a nice freshness from the citruses. The bergamot and the orange do create that freshness that Sauvage is very well known for. But I find also that that fades quite quickly. So it moves into a more woody, less fresh, and a little bit more resinous dry down. I almost want to call it dark, but it's not dark. It's definitely more well-rounded. It's definitely a more mature and less sweet opening, although there is sweetness there. There is a little hint of pepperiness, but there's absolutely none of that metallic note. Now, that can be a good thing because I know the metallic note was something that a lot of people didn't like. The EDT, it was the strongest. In the EDP, it was still somewhat there. And in the Parfum, I don't detect it at all. But all in all, it does have a nice opening. Now, it does contrast the EDP, which the EDP I did own for quite some time. I do enjoy it. And that has a lot of freshness to it. A lot of that Ambroxan balm freshness that Sauvage is really known for, accompanied by lavender and bergamot. But that being said, the openings are different. They do smell different, and the EDP is far more fresh than the Parfum. Now, on the dry down, I find that the Parfum is still quite sweet. It has that tonka bean, it has that vanilla, and what it does get also is a creaminess from the sandalwood. This isn't unpleasant. I do like this dry down, but one thing that I've noticed, it lacks the freshness that the EDP has. And that's one of the things for me that I like the most about Sauvage. It had this very nice, punchy freshness that is really mostly from the Ambroxan, I'm guessing. So the Parfum does sort of do away with that freshness, and it has maybe a slight freshness in the dry down, but it's more woody and sweet. And it has that creaminess again from the sandalwood. So that being said, I do find that the overall scent profile is quite a bit different. If you were thinking of it, you could almost call it a bad clone of the EDP. Not bad in the sense that it smells bad, bad in the sense that it's very dissimilar. So I don't find the Parfum concentration to really resemble Sauvage as I guess I've come to know it throughout the couple of years that it's been around. It doesn't have the sharp pepperiness of the EDT. It doesn't have the prominent freshness and Ambroxan that both the EDT and the EDP have. So I find it to be quite a different fragrance. It has a little bit of that DNA. You can still pick up that it is Sauvage-like, but it's quite different. Now, as this is a Parfum concentration, it doesn't have as much projection for me as the EDT or the EDP. That's generally expected, not always the case, but Parfum does typically last longer, but it doesn't project as much. And I basically get that. The thing is that, for me anyways, the EDP is absolute beast mode. I would never really go more than 2, maximum 3 sprays with that because it's absolutely beast mode on my skin. Very long lasting, and it has a lot of projection as well. And it is something that, again, can sort of induce headaches for a lot of people. So with the Parfum, you do get a little bit of a quieter fragrance. It's still very long lasting, but it's not as loud. It's much smoother, and it's not going to have that metallic and super ambroxany headache-like effect that a lot of people do get from it. So this can be seen as a plus, and if you found that the ambroxan was a little too heavy for you, or you didn't like that metallic note, the Parfum might be something that you enjoy a lot. Now personally, I like the EDT the most because it has this very peppery, zesty, punchy feel to it, followed by the EDP, and then of course the Parfum. Now, as I said before, I don't dislike the Parfum, I just dislike it with respect to the other Sauvages that are available. It's my least favorite of the 3 different concentrations. It is on its own not a bad fragrance, and if you kind of like the DNA of Sauvage but you want something different, Parfum may very well be something that you're looking for. It has quite a different profile while still having a little bit of that Sauvage DNA. A little bit of that freshness is still there, but it's quite different with the somewhat more resinous and a lot more woody elements. All in all, Parfum is not a bad fragrance at all. I don't think it should get any real hate, but for me it doesn't have what I really liked about Sauvage, which was that really sharp freshness, and that's really the EDT or the EDP concentrations. But anyways guys, this is one you should get your nose on. Check it out, see what you think about it, and as always, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.